Today we're comparing 3 mechs. That's what we call a trimecta.
That's what we call a lame joke.
Par for the course. Let's compare mechs. Autobots, roll out, is what I would be saying if any of the mechs before me were LEGO Transformers, which is, I know, what we all really want, but let's settle for what we can actually get. At the beginning of August in 2021, LEGO released 3 new Marvel Mechs, and I have built and reviewed each of these, so go check out those videos. I'll put links to them in the description down below. But let's get right into it. I wanted to compare these mechs and decide which one is my personal favorite. That's an important point here. I'm being subjective, I'm giving my own points, I'm not saying which mech is just better overall. That being said, I'd love to hear your opinions on these mechs as well. Let me know those in the comments. Let's go into it. I'm going to do the good, the bad, what I like, what I dislike about each of these mechs, their play features, their price comparisons. I may even talk about price per piece ratios, which I never talk about. And at the end, I'll tell you which of these mechs is my favorite. If that's something you're interested in, stick around. If that's not something you're interested in, my favorite is the green one, but you'll never know how I arrived at that conclusion until you watch the whole video. Let's get into it. So who are we comparing today? Well, I brought along 3 of my friends to help me out. Bachelor number 1 is the Ironmonger from Iron Man 1. Bachelor number 2 is the Sakaarian Iron Man, who is from the Marvel's What If television series, but I don't think we've seen him as of yet. Bachelor number 3 is the Hydra Stomper. That is from the first episode of the Marvel What If series, which we can actually see this mech in action in that episode. I have them ordered from most to least in pieces and prices. Our Ironmonger cost $40, the Sakaarian Iron Man was $35, and the Hydra Stomper was $30. All of them have piece counts right around their proportional prices. So obviously the Ironmonger is a little larger. The Sakaarian Iron Man is in stature kind of similar to the Hydra Stomper, you may notice. Yet it has like all the extra like car transforming pieces in the back and a bit of extra stuff that we'll talk about in a little bit, but that bumps up the price and the piece count just a little bit. Our lovely little Hydra Stomper here, well, it's just a quintessential mech, nothing too special about it. All of these mechs come with 3 minifigures each, and those minifigures will factor into my overall ratings, but all of the minifigures in this case are actually very nice. Good things about each set. Well, in terms of the Ironmonger, the good thing is, well, the origin story that he is from. Obviously, he started it all. It's Iron Man 1, the original origin of the MCU. Don't count that Eric Bana Hulk movie. So I like the origin story and the subject matter, but I don't like the mech as he is depicted as much here. But as long as we're talking about the good, I like his original storyline. I like the extra like pistons and kind of rudimentary rough look he's got going on with stuff just kind of hanging off him. He looks rough, which is accurate to the movie, but not as great as far as mechs go. I also like how articulatable he is. He's larger, so he gets a little bit of extra movement and motion built into him. Overall, I think he's nice. I also like the glow-in-the-dark center chest piece there. Sakaarian, the good. The color scheme is amazing. It's awesome. I love those bright colors. I love the symbols there. He looks like he fits right in on the planet of Sakaar. I wish we could see him in the actual show, but even so, that's fine. I like his bulkiness, his overall look, his domed hat, helmet. It's not a hat, it's a whatever it is, his faceplate thing. I like that part. I like the colors. Otherwise, he doesn't have a ton of other standout features. Hydra Stomper, I like its simplicity. I like its essential mech qualities. I like how sturdy it is, and yet it's still pretty articulatable. It's got a lot of movement, a lot of articulation, and yet it doesn't want to fall apart with every little motion it makes. I'm okay with the color. I wish it was a little better. We'll talk more about that as well. The bad things about the Ironmonger are that because it has all these like flimsy extra pieces hanging off of it, it kind of wants to fall apart while you're playing with it. And I think mechs are especially designed to be played with, and so if I'm worried about little pieces or toes popping off of this thing with every little movement, then, well, that's a downside. The bad about Sakaarian Iron Man here, unfortunately, it's his extra feature of being able to transform into a car. I see that as a downside because he has to wear this permanent wheel backpack, which is kind of dumb and bulky and not great looking on the back there. He's also got like, I don't know, a spoiler sticking up behind his head, which also doesn't look great. If he didn't have those things, he could have just been a little bit bigger, a little more detailed of a mech, and so that I count as a negative. The bad about the Hydra Stomper here, well, it's the wrong color. If you've seen the show, which I watched the first episode, and this dude is the wrong color. Also, I don't think that Captain America shield logo thing is on the actual mech in the show, so that's inaccurate. And then there's the subject matter, because this mech was kind of odd in the show. I don't know if this episode just had like odd pacing or whatever. I probably shouldn't hold it against the mech itself, but I didn't love the subject matter, but even so, that's factoring into my decisions. As for the minifigures, I think they're all really great and really nice compliments to the mechs themselves. But if I had to rank them from least to most liked, I think the least are actually the Hydra Stomper minifigures. They're okay, but I mean, Peggy's literally in the wrong suit. Again, I know that because I watched the episode. In second place are the Ironmonger minifigures. You get Pepper, you get Iron Man, and you get Obadiah Stane. All three of those are nice. I love that Iron Man has the opening faceplate once again. I was missing that. But my favorite minifigures of these three sets are the Sakaarian Iron Man minifigures. I just love that quintessential classic Tony Stark. Valkyrie's super cool as a character and as a minifigure. Plus we get the Watcher, who's new and won't stop looking in my windows while I'm sleeping. As far as play features go, the Ironmonger has like that Gatling gun on one of his hands covered in stud shooters. I guess that could be a play feature, but like I said, you gotta be gentle with playing with him because he'll probably fall apart on you. The Sakaarian Iron Man, as far as play features, really, it's just that car transforming capability, which I noted earlier, I actually see kind of as a negative. It's kind of more work than it is play, in my personal opinion. You might think otherwise. This guy doesn't have any stud shooters or shooty bits as far as I remember. And the Hydra Stomper also has a couple little stud shooters under each hand, but otherwise you're just going to have to play that it can fly around, which it can do in the show, but otherwise it's just a normal old mech playability. There are also some less quantifiable factors about each of these mechs that are worth mentioning, like the fact that the Ironmonger features in Iron Man 1, and so I have a bit of like extra sentimentality just because of what this dude started as far as the MCU. And then like the Sakaarian Iron Man, just aesthetically, I think he looks super cool. I said before, like I love his color scheme and the decals on him and all that. I love this idea of a big Iron Man mech but on the planet of Sakaar. I think that looks very cool. Whether or not we actually will see that in the What If series, who knows? The Hydra Stomper, I kind of struggle to find endearing qualities about it, only because it's so new just as a concept and we probably won't see it again after the What If series. But even so, like the mech itself is fine. I'm trying not to factor that too much into all of this, but I mean, he just doesn't have the lasting memorable qualities that I wish he did have. It is a fun fact about the Ironmonger and the Hydra Stomper that they're using shoulder pieces basically as their new faceplates. I don't think LEGO was doing this before, but these are the shoulder pieces from like the buildable figures, and that's what's being used as the mech face, so that could be interchanged. I don't think LEGO was printing on those before, so that's, I don't know if that's a good or a bad, but it's definitely interesting that LEGO's doing that with these mechs these days. One final factor is what I would call the kid's coolness factor. Basically, if a kid was walking through the LEGO aisle, saw these three on the shelves, but could only pick one, which do I think has the most appeal in that sense? It's not the Ironmonger because they don't care that much about Iron Man 1, and the thing is big and gray. What they're gonna go for is Sakaarian Iron Man or the Hydra Stomper. Honestly, if they see the Sakaarian Iron Man and they say, wait, that thing transforms into a car, that is a sure thing. But kids will always like army men, at least I assume they do. And so if they see this big green one who looks very simple as a mech, no one's going to question what it is. They go, is that a mech? Has it got jetpacks? Does it have Peggy Carter as a female protagonist in a TV show? Maybe this would appeal to little girls. I don't know, but I think it's definitely a toss-up between our two colorful mechs here, and honestly, a kid would probably most likely go for the Sakaarian Iron Man. And so after all of that, looking at these mechs across all those different excellently chosen criteria, thanks me, I still am coming to the conclusion, based on my own personal subjectivity, which of these mechs do I like the best, kind of based on all of those things we already talked about. And the answer is, big surprise, it's the green one. And it's not because of the subject matter, it's not because of any like surrounding external circumstances. Just looking at this mech by itself compared to these other two mechs, it is the most affordable. It is the most compact, but I think it is just the truest mech of all the mechs that I have in front of me. The big gray one falls apart too much. The Sakaarian Iron Man doesn't really know what he wants to be. If he didn't have like all those extra back pieces, if it didn't try to do that extra car transformation, it would have been a much bigger contender. But the green one, the Hydra Stomper, is just quintessential. It's got good articulation, good playability, sturdy, stays together, doesn't try to be something that it isn't. So that's a lesson for all of you out there. Be yourselves, and somebody on a LEGO YouTube channel may choose you as their favorite Lego mech. The analogy got away from me. I'm aware of that. Let me know if you do share my opinions in the comments down below, or more importantly, if you don't share my opinions. The world is made up and keeps going round based on all kinds of different people with all kinds of different opinions. No opinion is invalid unless you think that LEGO video is a good theme. Your opinion is objectively wrong. Sorry to say it. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.